Here we go.
Let's Speak Geek.
You're listening to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
On the Geek Speak Radio Show.
It is the Geek Speak Radio Show. Hello, everybody. Hello, Romo.
Hey, Henry, what's going on, man?
A lot.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Fantastic. Filling.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a big show today. Big because of all the food that we ate.
No, it's going to be big because we have...
Because we have a very special guest coming on. Somebody who's been on many times before.
Yeah.
But I was waiting for this appearance because it means that something that he talked about... Oh, let's not play Mystery Man now. It's Roddenberry. He's been here many times before. The first time he came here, we talked about it. He talked about it many times.
Uh-huh.
That is Trek Nation.
Yeah.
That's a documentary. Yeah, some Star Trek, but it's mainly about him and his journey to discover everything he could about his dad.
Yeah.
Because no big secret, he's talked about on the show. He didn't really get to know his dad when his dad was alive. Because he calls himself a rebellious kid. I think I mentioned it last week when we were closing out the show. I'm like him in that my dad used to have a grocery store.
Uh-huh.
People just expected I was naturally going to take over the family business. I didn't, obviously. That's why I'm here. Same thing with him. And you can kind of say the same thing about George Lucas or Steven Spielberg's kids. You kind of assume that because Spielberg is Steven is Steven, George Lucas has Star Wars, that they're just going to naturally take over. Well, they might not want to do that.
Well, you never know.
It's not like...
I mean, I would.
You know, there are a lot of celebrity and entertainment parents who force their kids to be in the entertainment business, and that's the last thing the kids want to do.
Yeah, it is.
This is not the case. This is the opposite with Rod, and like I said, he's mentioned this many times on before. So you're gonna finally get to see his journey to find out about his dad. Well, he didn't know about his dad, and that'll premiere this Wednesday, November 30th, 8 p.m. on the Science Channel. Before we do that, however,
what's that?
Let us do two things. One, I was in holiday mode, I should say. It wasn't really Romo's or producer Damien's fault. I haven't really checked the Facebook or the emails. I'm sure they're there. So I haven't picked the winner for the Walt Disney Family Fun Pack from last week. So I'm going to do that ASAP, as in I'm looking at producer Damien, do it now. But I'm going to give you the questions, the last set of questions for this year.
Yeah.
And also we should say this is also our season finale, not mid-season finale.
Yeah, all the other shows could go on, their little mid-season hiatus, then we can.
But they're coming back, and we're not.
Well, we are, but...
Well, not in 2011, that is. First week in January 2012, we will return. Not only that, but we'll have a brand spanking new name, shiny new logo. You'll see. We'll let you guys know exactly where you can go on our websites and where you can hear the show. Because we're not just a website, we're the show. That's the most important thing. So you'll find all that out later in the show. The questions.
The questions.
For the last, final... Walt Disney Family Museum Family Fun Pack. Everybody ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. Since it is the end, when did Walt Disney die? I need the date and year, please. Number 2, the true or false. Walt completed all of his projects before his death. That's a true or false. Another true or false. The name Walt Disney World was Roy Disney's idea. Now the last one.
What's that?
In the spirit of giving, it's the last one. I'm going to let you guys just have an easy one. There's no right or wrong answer for this.
Yeah.
The question is, how do you see Walt Disney?
I see him as a visionary.
Now, Walt Disney, the person, not Walt Disney, not the Walt Disney Company.
Yeah, the man himself.
The Walt Disney Company is something else entirely. Now, what it's become. I'm talking about the person, the man, Walt Disney.
Yeah. I mean, I see him as a visionary, so hey, that's a free answer for anyone that's listening right now.
Yeah, I mean, any answer you want to give.
Yeah.
Again, this is no right or wrong answer. It's however you see him. Whether it's, like Romo just said, a visionary, or that generation's, your grandparents' generation's, George Lucas or Steven or J.J. Abrams, even if you want.
Wow.
Or however you want to see him, just let us know that, and that will be the right answer. So again, Facebook page, or just go to geekspeakradioshow.com on the main page just to make it easy for you. You can do that. Send me an email. But if you want to brag to everybody, hey, I know everything Disney, just go on our Facebook page, post it on there like a couple of you did over the all of last month. So, like I said, let's take a break now. When we come back, let's kick it off with I was gonna say Gene, but not without a seance.
I was gonna say Gene too. I was thinking the same thing.
Let's pick it off with Roddenberry again, visiting us to talk finally the premiere
of Trek Nation.
The Geek Speak Radio Show. We'll be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
This is the show where you hear everything geek culture.
Rules. We don't think so.
This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.
It is the Geek Speak Radio Show. Welcome back. I'm Henry. He's Romo. Hey, Romo.
What's going on?
Okay, so had a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I'm full still. Can't believe I ate that much food.
Always food with this guy. Thanks to the Science Channel. Christmas is going to arrive a little bit early this week, especially for Star Trek fans. November 30th, Trek Nation finally makes its premiere. And appropriately enough, back again on the show one more time, Roddenberry. Rod, welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hey, guys. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. I was talking to the staff before we started the interview, and I was saying, we've had Rod on many times. I'm glad we have him on this time because it's finally to unveil Trek Nation.
Finally, yes. I've been on plenty of times before, always to tell you about this great new and up-and-coming documentary that would hopefully be out soon. And, well, it took a little while, but we finally got there.
Yeah, and now that we're a few hours away from actually it being unveiled to the world, can you describe your feelings? What are you feeling now? Huge weight off my shoulders. Only for a new one to come on, because the production of this has been quite a journey, and now that it's going to be out there, now we have to see what everyone thinks, and I'm very interested in that. Yeah, I'm very curious to know what people are going to think. Yeah, obviously it's got a built-in Star Trek audience, but it's going to be on the Science Channel, November 30th again, at 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Check your listings, see what channel Science is on yours. But what do you hope people who are not Star Trek fans take away from this? Good. Yeah, I'm glad you're jumping right into that. There's a very important message in this documentary that I hope comes through, and it's really hard to get everything that we wanted to into a 90-minute film. But one of the things I tried to do was to humanize my father. And so many people revere him, and they put him way up on this pedestal. And they say the great Gene Roddenberry, the genius, the visionary. He becomes sort of this like Greek god in a way that no one can relate to. And one of the things that I tried to do in this was I tried to find a way to connect with him, because my entire life he was put up on this pedestal. And what I needed to do was kind of I didn't want to dig up dirt on him, but I wanted to hear about the real man. So a lot of the interviews that I had, I got to hear some pretty hard things and some things about him that kind of brought out his flaws and his weaknesses. And again, by no means does this documentary focus on that, but I needed to see that, to hear that, to get a well-rounded idea of who he was. Once I found out that he had these flaws, which seems like a stupid statement to make, but at least through the journey, I could connect with him more, and it allowed me to actually love him more. And what I'm hoping people get out of this is that they can have tons of respect for him and admiration. I don't know if I want people to revere him in the way that they have in the past, but I want them to respect, admire, appreciate, and I want them to believe in themselves. It's no longer the great Gene Roddenberry did this, and boy, I could never do that. I want them to be inspired, like, wow, he was just
a normal guy who made mistakes, but still was able to get this amazing vision out there and change the world. Maybe I can do that. So that was a lot for me to say just to get that out there. But that's my hope.
Yeah, that's fine. Like we said many times before on the show, to you he was Dad, but you want people to see him as something other than the great bird of the galaxy, as it's been called many times.
Mm-hmm. And I want them to still see him as that, but I want them to have pride and belief in themselves, because there's too large of a gap between the fans and Gene Roddenberry, and I want to close that gap. I want them to know that they can do it too. They can get their dreams realized, and if they work hard and have determination, they should just work their butts off and make it happen, and don't take no for an answer.
And for those who think they know Gene Roddenberry, what can they expect that not like you said, not gossip or the demeanor or anything, but what can they expect to find, without giving too much away, of course, we do want them to watch it, but what can they expect to learn new about Gene the man?
It's interesting. We talked to a number of his friends. It's so difficult to talk about the documentary because there's so much that we interviewed, so much that we did that didn't make it into the documentary. I mean, how do you compress a man's entire life and the entire 45 years of Star Trek into 90 minutes? So in this documentary, though, they will definitely take away from it that he was definitely a visionary. He definitely was a philosopher. He had strong ideas about the future and what humanity should and could be. Did he always live up to that as far as himself? In many ways, yes, and in many ways, no. He also said that, we are in our infancy. We are doing dumb things. We are making mistakes. And he included that. He included himself in those comments. And he said, but our potential, if we can just believe in our potential, we are going to one day be something fantastic. And that was Star Trek. That was his vision of what we could be. As far as new stuff, I'm not going to go into the gossip or anything like that. There's some pretty poignant moments in the documentary where people share with me some strong statements about some of my father's faults and follies, which I don't want to give away now because I think they're just important to see in the entire documentary.
Yes, I really, it's a long time coming for this film. Love it, Trek Nation. When you were doing the interviews, you have some special guests there. Who were some of them, and how was it hearing from them, just to tease some of the special guests?
Absolutely. I mean, George Lucas is one of the big ones. I wanted to get the father of Star Wars speak about the father of Star Trek, and he was such a delight. Initially, first of all, we couldn't believe that his office agreed to do the interview, or that he agreed to do the interview. And when we got there, we were told he would only have about 20 minutes, and we needed to keep our questions short and brief, and he'd have to get out of there because he was in the middle of post-production on the third Star Wars movie. And so we got into just this wonderful discussion. He ended up staying about 45 minutes. He said some amazing things that weren't, he wasn't saying just for sound bites. These were genuine comments on his part about how Star Wars stood on the shoulders of Star Trek. And it was so wonderful and so admirable to have him almost belittle himself and give so much respect to my father. I was kind of flabbergasted when he took that approach, and I have so much respect for him. Other people that we interviewed, which didn't make it into the documentary, are like Dennis Rodman and Tammy Faye Mesner, who was formerly Tammy Faye Baker. Our intention here was to show the breadth of fandom out there, the diverse, different kinds of people who all believed or had this passion for the future that my father created.
Yeah, and again, we're talking to Rod Roddenberry, executive producer of Trek Nation, premiering this Wednesday, November 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific on Science Channel. Check out Roddenberry.com and TrekNationMovie.com for more information. We have it linked up on our GeekSpeakRadioShow.com website in our links section. Now, Rod, how did the discussion go, and how did you decide, science is the right home for Trek Nation?
Well, I got to be honest. They really just sort of saved our butt. We had a number of cuts. I've got to take responsibility for this. Trek Nation did start almost 10 years ago, and I'd never done a documentary before, but I found a great partner at the time, Scott Calthorpe of Atmosphere Productions, and he had been working on some Star Trek TV spots for the channel TNN. And he, my first impression of this, my first idea was to do something on the fans. I wanted to do the opposite of what the Trekkies documentary did. I wanted to show the diversity of fans and how amazing they were and how they all were inspired by Star Trek. He really brought in the father-son angle. So he actually was pivotal to getting this thing off the ground. Now, as we went on through the years, we didn't really have a strong script. We had a direction and an idea, and we were moving in that direction and idea, but we were just doing interviews, every 3 or 4 months. We would do some interviews at a convention. Then we started getting more directional and seeking out people to interview. And then during the editing phase, it was pretty solid initially in the editing, but we would go off tangent, we would go in different directions, and we would kind of take it down this road. And every time we would go down that road, we would realize we got too far away from this focus of the son searching to understand his father. And so after a number of years of doing that, we took a cut that we thought was pretty solid. We brought it around to a number of the distributors. All of them rejected it for mostly the same reason. And finally, Discovery Channel said, we know what you're trying to do here. We can see the good in this. We get it. Let us help you make this what it could be. And so we went with them, and we're very happy to have gone with them.
And do you think it is the perfect place for it?
Absolutely the perfect place for it. Absolutely. My only wish is that this could have been a 12-part miniseries, just because there's so much, and I mean good material. We have hundreds of hours of footage, and I don't just mean B-roll, but I mean really good interviews. So that's my only wish. And who knows? Who knows what will happen after this is released?
Yeah, that actually leads me to a couple of questions that I just thought of right now, and that is, after it airs initially, after its premiere, do you plan on releasing it to the home video market, and will we ever see that unaired footage?
Yes, the intention right now is to create a DVD with plenty of featurettes and extra material. I can't say we've gotten to work on that yet. Our focus has been to get this out on the air, gauge the response, and decide in which direction to go with. But the intention is to put out a DVD. It won't be within the first 3 months after it's released. It might take a year or so, but one way or another, a DVD will get out there. Or I should say Blu-ray, I guess, these days.
Yeah. Or, what is it, the digital downloader?
Yeah.
I think even Blu-ray is all
of that. Yeah. All of that.
Yeah, so again, Rod Roddenberry, executive producer, Trek Nation, finally premiering Wednesday, November 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific on the Science Channel. Roddenberry.com, TrekNationMovie.com for all the information, all linked up on GeekSpeakRadioShow.com for you. Rod, before we let you go, what can we expect? Tease a little bit what we can expect from Roddenberry Productions for next year.
Well, I'm going to sort of answer your question because there's a lot of things that we've been working on recently. Everything falls under this umbrella of Roddenberry, and Roddenberry is really this philosophy of a better future through humanity craving new ideas. And the thing that we've started is the Roddenberry Foundation, which was about a year and a half old. And again, this isn't a production thing. This is more of a philanthropic endeavor. But what we're doing is that we're teaming up with cutting-edge, innovative companies that are working towards long-term solutions to our planet's and our society's problems. So what we're trying to do is take the next steps from what my father did. He presented the idea of this world, this better tomorrow. What we're working to do now is to make that future a reality. So we're extremely proud of that, and I'd ask everyone to check out roddenberryfoundation.org to know more.
And we'll link that up on GeekSpeakRadioShow.com also. And also, don't forget the Roddenberry Dive Team that's still going on. I think we still have a link to that.
Mm-hmm, we do, Trek Nation.
Certainly do.
Okay, so again, Rod, thanks a lot. And before we let you go, got to say, very happy for you that it's finally getting out there, Trek Nation, that is.
Yes, thank you, guys. I really appreciate that, and I hope everyone tunes in. I hope everyone enjoys it, and we hope to bring you all the additional material at some point in the future.
Yeah, and again, it premieres Wednesday, November 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific on the Science Channel. Rod, thanks a lot. Happy holidays, and you're always welcome here.
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, Rod, talk to you later.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
You don't need a radio to listen to this radio show. This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.
It is the Geek Speak Radio Show. I'm Henry. He's Romo. Thanks again.
I'm really excited. Trek Nation.
Yeah, thanks again to Roddenberry. He's been here many times before. He's like, he has his own couch and everything over there.
He's part of the family.
Yeah, but like I said, we are happy that finally, Trek Nation is premiering this Wednesday, November 30th, 8 p.m. on the Science Channel. So be sure you're going to be there for that. It takes a lot to make me not watch Modern Family on Wednesdays. This is going to make me not watch Modern Family.
We've talked about it so much that then finally here, I want to see what it's all about. We've been, it's finally premiering on Science.
So let's talk to Bernadette McDaid, who is executive producer of Trek Nation and vice president of production for the Science Channel. Bernadette, welcome to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Thank you so much. We're delighted to be here.
Yeah, we are glad you are here too, actually. Like I said, Rod's been here many times, and that was one interview I was really looking forward to because it means that, like I said, Trek Nation finally is about to be unveiled to the world.
Yay! It's a great film. We're really delighted, and Rod's been such a great partner for us. So, 8 o'clock Wednesday, November 30th, I'll be there. All my friends tuning in with our Trekker outfits on.
Yeah, good idea.
I know, right?
I didn't even think of that. What should dress up for that. So Bernadette, let me ask you, what was it about Trek Nation that made the Science Channel say, yes, we need to air this on the Science Channel?
Well, we're always looking for what we call the crazy genius. So the people who are thinking ahead of their time, and also people who use science as a foundation for imagination. And we had heard that Rod had been working on this film about his dad for a few years, and we thought that we felt that Gene Roddenberry and his vision was a perfect fit for us for those reasons, because he really pushed the boundaries of imagination across the board, both in terms of the editorial in Star Trek, but also just reflecting society at that time. So it's a very, very powerful legacy to leave behind, and I think Trek Nation really does the film justice and also Gene Roddenberry justice.
Well, you were all deciding to air it on Science. Were you seeing it strictly as just for the Star Trek fans, or do you really think that this could be for a broad audience?
Oh, Trek Nation is very much for a broad audience. At its heart is the relationship of a son trying to understand who his father was through the legacy of his work. So it's incredibly personal and very relatable. And Rod was extremely generous partner in that respect. So there's a very rich emotional journey threaded through the story of Star Trek itself. And one of the great things on Science Channel programming is, even if you think you know something, we like you to reassess what it is you think you know. So there's lots of kind of never before seen footage, incredible stories that Rod himself had never heard of before. So there's plenty of material and a lot of richness for the fans and the fans to be alike.
So just like a Star Trek episode, it's designed to make you think.
Exactly. I mean, that's at the core of all Science Channel programming. We really want to provoke the viewers to think. It's not a passive experience watching films on our channel. We're actively poking at the audience to reassess what they think they know, and Track Nation very much falls into that category.
Yeah, we're talking again to Bernadette McDaid, executive producer of Trek Nation and vice president of production for the Science Channel. And Bernadette, as executive producer for Trek Nation, what were your contributions or additions, if any, when you came on board?
Well, when we started working on the film with Rod, Rod is quite a modest, down-to-earth, lovely guy. And Rod was not as prominent in the film as we would have liked. So we worked very closely with Rod into transforming the film into a truly personal journey to understand his father. So we shot a very long and intensive interview with Rod that now forms the backbone and spine of the film, and we reworked a lot of the material. At that point, that's when we were able to uncover some of the never before seen footage. There's a great material of the very first ever Star Trek convention back in the 70s. Wow. Rod was very generous with his family archive, so there's a wealth of Roddenberry family home movies that have never been seen before. And of course, Rod had done an amazing job of bringing in a lot of celebrity interviews. So he had already shot with George Lucas, J.J. Abrams, Seth MacFarlane, as well as many other Star Trek alumni to the film. So we really took that and crafted it into a narrative that was very on brand for science.
Yeah, we just finished speaking to Rod actually right before you, and he mentioned that not only Star Trek alumni, like you said, but there was also celebrities, just regular celebrities who were touched by Gene Roddenberry's vision of what Star Trek could be. And he actually mentioned that those actually didn't even make it into Trek Nation, the final cut that we'll see.
Well, there's a lot of material that we're going to have on our online on sciencechannel.com, so I would encourage viewers to check out that as well. Rod had done such an amazing job over such a long period of time. By necessity, a film on television has to have a finite length, so there was some great material that we just had to leave on the cutting room floor because there was an embarrassment of riches on this one. But the interviews here in it, I mentioned George Lucas and J.J. Abrams, and a personal favorite, because I'm a bit of a sci-fi fan myself, is Ron Moore is also in the film, who of course reimagined Battlestar Galactica in its latest form, which I think is a great piece of work too.
Yeah, and again, we're talking to Bernadette McDaid, who's the executive producer on Trek Nation and vice president of production for the Science Channel. Trek Nation will be premiering this Wednesday, November 30th at 8 p.m. on the Science Channel. Now, as let me see. We don't like to talk spoilers on the show. We don't want to give anything away. But without giving too much away, what do you hope that non-Star Trek fans take away from Trek Nation?
What I would love non-Star Trek fans to take away from Trek Nation is to realize the power of science fiction as a reflection of what's happening in society. So the power of story to illuminate the world we live in, but also more importantly for Science Channel, we want people to realize that science is the foundation of imagination, and that was the thing that really blew my mind about Star Trek as a show, and of course Trek Nation itself, is seeing how much of what seemed like wild imaginative stories, and they were actually based in science of the time. They were projected out of the available research that was happening at the time the scripts were written, and that continues to be the case with science fiction today. So what I would love people to take away from watching Trek Nation is just realizing that science is everywhere, and and it can unlock incredible stories and incredible visions of the future.
Yeah, that is something that's always been pointed out. I mean, the most obvious one is the communicators in Star Trek. I mean, the cell phones. Hello, we all have one of those now.
That's true.
Yeah, I know, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and hopefully us as humans will catch up with Gene's vision of where we are in his 23rd century.
Yeah, he's incredibly... One of the amazing things I learned from the film about Gene that I didn't know, he was such an optimistic visionary. Like, he really believed in the goodness of humanity and that we would all grow up, as he put it, and find a way to live in peace and harmony, which is quite unusual, I think, anywhere, but I think particularly in science fiction, one often finds that writers can have quite dark visions of the future. But he was so hopeful and bright. It's incredibly uplifting to hear him talk, just about his beliefs in the kindness and fundamental goodness of man.
Yeah, and when it's going to air right now, it's almost 2012, and everybody's apocalyptic view of what's going to happen in 2012, whatever it is. But do you think that this is the perfect time to air something like Trek Nation?
I think it's a perfect time to air. We're so consumed with the kind of negativity and drama surrounding 2012. It really is a beacon of hope, and I think it shines all the more brightly because of the current situation in the world, with recession is grabbing hold of countries again. It's just a wonderfully uplifting and positive outlook on our future.
Yeah, and one thing I hope that Trek Nation does do is invigorate an entire new fan base to go out there and actually get the original Star Trek, the Next Generation, the films, including JJ's new one from a couple years ago. And not just get wowed by the special effects and everything else. That's fine, but also Gene's message, like I said, for us as a human race. That's what I hope they take away from it.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And he's such an incredible storyteller. He has we include interviews with him that were done through the years, and he talks about how the characters in Star Trek are like a family that you come and visit every week to share in their adventure, and you become you empathize with them and become very emotionally invested in their successes and their failures. And I think that's an incredibly powerful way to draw people into a message that you're trying to impart. So it's just very positive, that whole idea of teamwork and family and unity and a positive outlook. It's very uplifting.
Yeah, it is. And for us personally, also for friends of Rod, Rod's been on the show many times, and we're glad that it's finally getting aired somewhere. He's talked about it for so long.
Yeah, we are too. And Rod has been a great partner. We literally called him out of the blue because we had heard that he'd been working on this film, and that was a big leap of faith for him. He was handing over something that was incredibly personal. It's about his father and something that he'd worked on for such a long time. And he put his trust in us that we would do right by him and make a great film. So we're really delighted that he's so pleased with the finished film, because it's a great piece of work.
Yeah, and I'm sure he shared this with you also. He's shared it with us many times on the show before. It was very, very personal to him, because it was also a search for things he didn't know about his dad. And for any son, it's kind of hard to admit that there are some things that I didn't know about my dad. Yeah.
Now, there's some incredibly powerful moments, and I don't want to give away too much, but there's a wonderful moment where he is talking to a colleague of his father's, who's likening the characters in Next Generation to incarnations of Gene at various stages, so it almost like his son in a way. And he says to Rod, I can imagine how much that must have hurt as his biological son to see him do that. And there's just this incredibly powerful moment where Rod doesn't say anything, but just the look on his face, it's just so relatable and just incredibly moving, because I hadn't thought about that beforehand. That must be a very strange and personal thing to try and come to terms with, where you realize your father is creating sons on screen. Yeah. And you're trying to build a relationship with him. So, very, very relatable, very powerful storytelling.
Yeah, so right there, that should tell you, to all of you, the listeners, should tell you everything, exactly what Trek Nation is. Yes, there's a lot of Star Trek in there, obviously, because like with Walt Disney, when you talk about Walt Disney, there's no way you can stay away from Mickey Mouse and everything else. Same thing with Gene. When you tell his story, there's no way you cannot talk about Star Trek.
Exactly. I mean, I think the man and his work were so intimately and intricately entwined, you just couldn't separate them out.
And you can see all of that, again, November 30th, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific on the Science Channel. Trek Nation finally premiering. Bernadette McDaid, she is the executive producer of Trek Nation and also vice president of production for the Science Channel. Before we let you go, Bernadette, tell us a little bit more about the programs we can find on Science Channel.
Oh, that would be great. Well, we've got a very exciting series airing right now called Prophets of Science Fiction, which is on at 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. That's with Ridley Scott, the esteemed director of Blade Runner, Alien, and others. We have a film on H.G. Wells coming up this Wednesday, and a film on Arthur C. Clarke next week, which is very exciting. Indeed. So we're really trying to get eyeballs on that show, because it's incredible intersection of science fiction and science fact. And, it's always interesting to see, did art imitate life or did life imitate art? So we're very excited about that show.
Right.
And yeah, can I mention our Punkin' Chunkin' special on Thanksgiving night?
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you about that. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Punkin' Chunkin' is the granddaddy of our sci sports franchise, where teams from NASA scientists to backyard engineers try and figure out the best way to throw a pumpkin as far as possible. It's highly important for the future of the country that we solve this problem. So it's a really fun film, great way to do engineering in an entertaining way. And this year we have the 3 co-hosts from Mythbusters will be hosting Punkin' Chunkin'.
Yeah, it's on sciencechannel.com. You can find all that on there. And also, I think it was on sciencechannel.com or on the Facebook page. There was a link to it, one of the two. I saw a promo for, I forget the name of the show right now, but it was where the show deals with scientists creating ape-human hybrids.
Oh, Dark Matters.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Dark Matters is a great show. That is, we'll be showing that again very soon. We don't have dates scheduled for it, but yeah, that was a huge creative swing. It's kind of investigating the dark side of science. It's hosted by John Noble.
Yeah, that's why it caught my attention.
Yeah, who many people will know from Fringe. But yeah, the stories are incredible. Ape-monkey hybrids, and all sorts of craziness with great stories.
Yeah, perfect host, Walter Bishop.
Will do.
Who else would host that then?
John Bishop.
You can find all those on Science Channel. Again, don't forget, Trek Nation finally premiering Wednesday, November 30th at 8 p.m. on the Science Channel. Bernadette, thanks a lot for coming on, and you are welcome back anytime.
Oh, thank you so much, guys, and we really appreciate your passion for Trek Nation. It's a really great film, and we're really proud of it.
Yeah, we're just happy that it's finally going to air somewhere. You've been hearing so much about it.
Yeah, it's well worth the wait, I can guarantee you.
I'm sure. So again, Bernadette, thanks a lot. Wish you happy holidays, and we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
It is the most powerful station in the whole universe.
Love this song.
Even though we're really not on a station.
No.
There's a hint what our new name will be next year. So welcome back to the Geek Speak Radio Show for this season finale of ours. Thanks again to Roddenberry again.
It was a good interview.
Like I said, he's got his couch, he's got his everything over there. He's got is that a sleeping bag over there? Oh no, that's producer Damon over there sleeping right now. So thanks to Rod again. Trek Nation premieres finally this Wednesday, November 30th, 8 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on the Science Channel. Check your
local listings
and your carrier. See what channel it's on.
Yeah.
We have DirecTV on ours. It's on 284. But some of you may have cable or something else, or just plain old digital TV.
It's going to be so good.
Just check your listings. You'll find out what it is. But it is on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific. Not just for Star Trek fans, although obviously they're going to be there. But let's get personal with you. Do you mind? Good.
All right. Do it.
I think you mentioned once a long time ago on the air, you have daddy issues, kind of like Sawyer did on Lost. Anybody that has any kind of daddy issues, and really that's just about everybody listening to us right now, you will really like this one. Because that especially the latter half of the... we got to see it. Mm-hmm. We got sent the screener. Thanks for that from the Science Channel. I've seen it a few times already. The latter half of the documentary, there is a lot of Star Trek in there. It gives a story of Star Trek.
Yeah, but it's mostly just Rod right now.
Yeah,
the later half is just Rod.
With Walt Disney, you can't talk about his life without mentioning Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, everything else. Same thing with Gene Roddenberry. You can't mention his life without going into Star Trek.
Yeah, Star Trek.
But the latter half, and there's a lot of moments in there when he actually talks to people who worked with Gene on the Star Trek shows.
Yeah, and fans as well.
Where they tell him some things that are a little hard for Rod to take. And you can see it in his face. I mean, we've talked to him, we've heard it on the air, but it's a whole different thing when you actually see it in his face.
But I think it also humanizes Gene Roddenberry because everyone thinks of him as a visionary. And really, everyone, he's the creator of Star Trek. Sorry about that.
There you go.
No, because there's a special scene. If you towards the end, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but we do have an interview. Well, Rod interviews George Lucas, so it's really, really good to hear his response as far as what he thinks about
the father of Star Wars speaks about the father of Star Trek.
Yeah, and that's really cool. So
I like that. There's a lot of our favorite from everybody listening and us. There's a lot of our favorites in this documentary.
Yeah,
somebody that says Excelsior every time he says something.
Yeah,
he's in this. My favorite, JJ.
That was a good one.
He's in this because, of course, now he's somebody very special to Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Then you got me saying I almost said Star Wars. And George Lucas is in there also. Ronald D. Moore is in there. You guys now know him as the writer of Battlestar Galactica. He also wrote on Star Trek The Next Generation and a great science fiction writer in his own right. He has a few things to say. Rick Berman, who half of the Star Trek family really hate him. Mm-hmm. The other half love him.
But also with this document with Trek Nation, it shows the whole timeline of what Gene Roddenberry's vision with Star Trek, and from the early days, from its pilot all the way to Enterprise, and it actually kind of gives you like a little mini biography or documentary about the whole life of Star Trek.
Yeah, there are a few things. I mean, I've made no secret of this. I am both. I'm a hybrid fan. I love Star Wars and Star Trek.
Yeah,
I grew up watching both. Mm-hmm. I wasn't alive in the 60s. I wasn't even born in the 60s. But I did catch it in syndication, and I do own all 3 seasons of the original series. My favorite has always been the original series. I make no secret about that. And also, I'm one of the few people who actually enjoyed Voyager.
Well, season 1, 2, or 3. Which one? Of the
For
first?
what? The original season?
The original.
All of them, actually.
Ah.
In the beginning, I never really liked a lot of the episodes from season 3.
Yeah,
I mean Spock's brain. That's all you have to say, really. And all Star Trek fans, you know what I'm talking about. But as I've gotten older and I see the world different, especially now that we're getting a lot closer to Gene's vision, us ourselves are getting to the 23rd century ourselves. We hopefully will get closer to that vision that Gene Roddenberry had.
Yeah, I mean, we already got cell phones.
Phasers, not just technology, but I'm talking about us.
As a human race.
There's a few moments. One thing I do like about Trek Nation, now that I finally got to see it, and you guys will see it again, it's Wednesday, November 30th on the Science Channel. Don't miss that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do like to mention a lot is Gene Roddenberry's philosophy, and then you guys have heard me explain it to you when we first started talking Star Trek on the show, and that is he said that we as a human race, we are like little kids. We throw tantrums. We hate people just because they look funny. Just like little kids in school. But now we're getting a little older. And when you get a little older, hopefully you get a little bit more class about yourself.
Yeah, our technology has advanced, but as a human race, have we advanced?
No. And honestly, I mean, I've said it before. Again, I don't really see technology advancing that much. I don't see really the cell phones and the texting. I don't really see that as an advancement. I see it as a step backwards. Yeah, I know it's convenient and everything, but I mean, just go into any business, not just here what we do, but any business, people don't know how to speak to you anymore. And these are people who own the company. It's pathetic, really. And the people don't know how to talk to you because they can only speak to you over emails, over texts. So I see it as a step backwards, not progress, really.
Our communication has changed in a way.
Yeah, like I said, things like having the cell phones. When was the last time you used a payphone?
Never.
Last millennium.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing because and not just because you can talk to your friend about, hey, what's up? Not much. What are you doing?
Nothing.
Just walking home. Those aren't important. But I'm talking about, see, if it's an emergency, you start walking. You get hurt and you stumble. You hurt yourself, or you realize, I don't have bus fare, so I have a friend pick you up. You have to go. You don't have to go looking for a payphone anymore. It's right there on your hip.
Yeah.
So that, what was I talking about? Oh, technology.
Yeah, technology advancing.
But I hope technology has caught up to Star Trek. A lot of the science fiction in Star Trek has become science fact. Which I think we mentioned it with Roddenberry. I think that was a perfect choice to put it on Science Channel because, like we just said, it has affected technology.
Yeah.
Now, that hopefully we'll take the next step and the philosophy behind the human beings and how we become the United Federation of Planets. Hopefully that's the next step.
Well, we'll leave it up to J.J. Abrams. I mean, with his new... he's going to be doing a new one, too, so I'm kind of looking
we'll leave it up
to
not a few months from now, 2012.
Yeah.
Supposedly something big is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be apocalyptic where the world is going to end. I don't think it's that at all. I think it's quite the opposite. I think we're about to enter an age of enlightenment. And now we're going to sound like a very, very well listened to overnight show. So we're going to get away from that. It is still the Geek Speak Radio Show. Before we go,
what's that?
Do you have a book?
I do have a book.
Perfect. Hold on. Let me go first. Because I happen to know, that was just a trick question for you. I happen to know what your book is. My book is the same thing. All of you, before you start emailing, you guys are just talking Star Trek again. Where's Star Wars? It's right here. Romo's book is Star Wars. My books, that's a hint, are Star Wars. I'll let you go first.
All right. So why I kept on tripping up on Star Wars and Star Trek was because the book's right in front of me. It is Star Wars Year by Year, a visual chronicle by Ryder Wyndham, Daniel Wallace, and Pablo Hidalgo. It was released last year. It is like a high school, like a high school yearbook. Yeah. You go each year from before Star Wars was released in 1977 to...
Yeah, this book, actually, we got it last year. It's been sitting in our library. We just never really got around to reading it. Obviously, you did.
Yeah.
Now I know what you were doing in there.
It just shows a bunch of pictures. It shows you, like, what each year, what came out and what was so impactful that Star Wars
open
had.
It right now, I see a toy that I actually had, which is the Death Star... what is that? The Imperial Starship playset.
In 1980, yeah.
I actually remember my dad buying me that.
Yeah, it goes from all the toys... comic books, everything that Star Wars had an impact in pop culture, and it's in here, and it shows you from other movies that were related to Star Wars and how that influenced that.
Yeah, the other thing is you're talking Star Wars because it is a Star Wars book, but it's not just Star Wars in there.
No.
It's video games. Pac-Man is in there. Rubik's Cube is in there. I think Michael Jackson is in there mentioned somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything that had an impact in that decade is in there.
Yeah.
And I think Back to the Future's in there even.
Yeah, and it goes
DeLorean in there.
And it goes back to even when George Lucas was starting out in his career.
I see there.
Yep. Star Trek.
There you go again. See, even in the Star Wars book, you have to call it Star Trek.
No, but it's really cool. It talks about his past life his past movies that he did before Star Wars. American Graffiti, and it's really cool. I think it's a must-have in your collection for everyone that's a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, it's a big book. I mean, the link is going to be up on the Geek Speak Radio Show webpage in the book club section. Mm-hmm. It's a big book. It's what you call a coffee table book.
Yeah, it is,
because it's one that you want to. You definitely it comes in a cool, what do you call this, slipcase?
Yeah,
hardcover slipcase. Slip it in, and it's got everybody. It's got Darth Maul there, Darth Vader, Chewbacca. Mm-hmm. Little bit of everything. Clone Wars are even on there, and I think in the back. Hold on.
There you go. See, it's big.
Yeah, right here. See, Star Killer from the Force Unleashed video game. They're even mentioned in here because how can you not? It's a huge video game, Star Wars video game. I mean, that the Force Unleashed 1 and 2, 1 especially, I would consider that the Batman Arkham Asylum and Arkham City of Star Wars.
Really,
as good as those two video games are for the Batman franchise, that video game does the same thing for Star Wars.
Wow. I hardly play that much video games because I'm busy reading comic books and doing other stuff. There's so much news on movies that it's
sure. I remember somebody missing the Michael Uslan interview a few weeks ago because he was busy playing Arkham City.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah,
it's Batman.
It's Arkham City.
Yeah, it's Arkham City. But other than that, it's really, really a cool book. I see that you also have 2 books as well.
3, actually.
Wow.
I got the other one over here. I was rereading it. I've read these actually, and all of you have read them. It's the Thrawn trilogy. I mean, what other book series would I suggest? The one Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, The Last Command, all by Timothy Zahn. Mm-hmm. Arguably the best expanded universe writer out there. I know a lot of you, I'm looking at you, Romo, don't like reading all these big books. Dark Horse Comics did make a graphic novel back in, I think it was 08 or 09. Mm-hmm. And it is out there so you can read and see the pictures also. Okay. But I would highly recommend the Timothy Zahn novels. Those are the ones I'm picking. So again, Heir to the Empire, which is 20 years old this year.
Wow.
It was just re-released in a very special
packaging. One of the originals
packaging.
Too, because I could tell it's been
the one you're holding is the original.
Wow.
Dark Force Rising, The Last Command, and this is for that one person who hasn't read it yet. Welcome back from Mars, and you all know I'm not gonna give you spoilers or anything. You all know it's a continuation of what would have happened after Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Doesn't go backwards like Episode 1, 2, and 3, but it goes forward. The further adventures of Luke, Han, and Leia.
Yeah, and their kids.
Introduced Mara Jade also in that series. So that's the one I would pick. What other one would I pick?
You know what? They should make a movie make the book into a movie.
Here we go again. Yeah, many people have said that many times also. So those are our picks, the final picks of the year for the Geek Speak Radio Show Book Club. The Star Wars year by year coffee table, big huge book. It's a pretty cool one. And I cheated a little. I had 3, the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command.
Wow.
Now, let's take a break. Let's have, again, a lot of last today. The last comics commentary for this year. Mm-hmm. We'll hear from...
This was our last book.
Yeah, we'll hear from David Lee, do that. Then we'll come on back and do our last TV talk. How about that?
Let's do it.
All right.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland. But if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
Comics Commentary with David Lee on the Geek Speak Radio Show.
Hey, kiddies, welcome back to the final episode of Geek Speak Radio for 2011. As well, this is going to be the last episode of Comics Commentary with me until the next year. I hope you guys' the rest of your year is going to be packed out and finished very well with all the good stuff you want. And make sure to buy a lot of comics, a lot of comics-related stuff. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. Buy all the things. This week on Comics Commentary, we're going to go ahead and do a 2011 recap. What? Recap? What's that? No, just we're going to run with it. Don't worry, Jose in the corner. You'll be fine. So, 2011 was a great year of comics. We had a really good, solid amount of events that happened, some of it being too much. A lot of it, though, was hit and miss. It was like, okay, well, what do you want to read? What do you don't want to read? How many crossovers are you going to get yourself into? Some of them, I'll tell you outright, I didn't bother reading because I thought they sucked. Fear itself being one of them, so I can't really talk about that one. The first thing I'd like to go ahead and talk into is the Marvel side of the events. Marvel, they had one hell of a run. They had Second Coming going on, which was actually fairly decent. A lot better than it could have been, but a lot worse than it should have been. They introduced the character Hope Summers, which a lot of people that I knew and are friends with, and kind of myself included, were like, oh dear God, are they really resurrecting the Phoenix this way? Is that going to be a reincarnated Jean Grey? God damn it, no. Turns out, and I'm sorry, this whole thing's going to be spoiler alert, this whole review, so if you haven't read the comics, too damn bad for you. You've had a whole year. Suck it up, Charlie, here we go. So you find out that, no, Hope is not related to Summers' clan. Her last name is Spaulding, and she's actually the daughter of a firefighter. Her power was power mimicry, so basically if she stood beside Cyclops, she didn't even have to touch him, and she could actually copy his power and use it to the utmost potential that it could ever be at, and she could control it. She copied characters like Scott, Wolverine, Rogue, Nightcrawler, a whole mess of mutant powers as she ran through time and space with Cable, trying to get away from the now mysteriously bad guy Bishop. Why the hell was he bad guy? Doesn't that guy have enough personality problems anyway? I mean, get out of here with that crap. I always thought Bishop was cool from the comics. Or not the comics, the cartoons, the 90s comics. He had that little badass country bandana, and every time you saw him on the screen, it was like, wow, wow. It was pretty cool. But in the comics, he's kind of a tool. So they were running away, blah, 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 like they always do. Second Coming culminated in a huge, nasty knockdown, drag-out fight at Utopia in San Francisco, in which Hope obliterated Bastion, or Nimrod, depending on which iteration you're talking about. She was actually really well done as a character. Cable dies, Scott broods, Logan gets mad. Standard fare. Of course, we all expect to see Cable back. Overall, it was decent. You know, if you pick it up in the trade paperbacks, go for it. Otherwise, skip. I'd give it about a 5 out of 10. Next event we had Marvel was Schism. Schism is just absolutely pointless. I'm sorry, kiddies. Schism sucked. Bottom line. Now, don't get it twisted. Cyclops has always been my favorite X character. He always has been. I love him. But in the recent years, they have been turning Cyclops into a Class A douche. I mean, we're talking no end of his douchiness. He wants to take kids, turn them into soldiers for the fight for humanity and mutant kind alike. And Logan suddenly turning a softer side. And something tells me he's seen the softer side of Sears or whatever that commercial was one too many times. He becomes happy fun time Logan. They get into a fight, blah, 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 and they start fighting right in front of a bad guy. What? What the hell? I get the fact that Wolverine is one of Marvel's major money banks, and he's a good character. Don't get me wrong. But Marvel, if you're listening to this, and I'm pretty sure you are, stop flooding us with Logan. You guys have been doing it for 20 years. Enough is enough. Put another mutant into the spotlight. Schism ended with two separate titles coming out of it. Uncanny X-Men with Cyclops and his side, where they're staying in Utopia and being trained to be soldiers. Logan took his side of the X-Men and the students back to the trashed remains of Westchester to create a new comic called Wolverine and the X-Men. Hey, didn't we see this in a cartoon before? Nah. Sorry, skip. 2 out of 10. Don't even bother with it. And then there was some other stuff with the going on. I'm not sure if it was 2011, tail end of 2010 into 2011, where they had Siege. The whole Marvel thing was Siege, where Norman Osborn ended up being, well, his reach outstanded his cornrowed grasp, and he tried to get the power of a god and bombed it. Cue the return of Thor, the attitude between Stark and Thor, and then Stark and Cap, who had recently been reborn. And that itself was a great series. I won't go into it now for time constraints, but I recommend you all go out to Barnes & Noble, pick up the trade paperback, Captain America Reborn. Great series. It really explains how Steve came back. Siege was okay. Fear itself, like I said, didn't read, didn't care for, because they were just, the promo advertisements were just really not appealing to me. Like I told you, I love Scott, but when I'm sitting there seeing him in a Magneto costume for the promo advert, sorry, no. That's where I draw the line. Sorry, Marvel, you lost me on that one. 0 out of 10. You had the various cartoons, whatnot, come out from Marvel. 3 Japanese anime cartoons. One of them, Blade. Another one, Iron Man. The third, X-Men. I can't sit still through the Japanese dubs. All I hear is, I'm expecting to see Godzilla come in the background. No, sorry. I can't understand that anyways. The interesting thing to come out of the American version of the dubs is that Milo Ventimiglia from Heroes played, good old Peter Petrelli. He was playing the voice of Logan. And Logan was kind of a skinnier guy, a little bit of a yaoi-looking, typical Japanese-looking good guy that they always draw. No, I can't stress that enough. No, Logan is a stocky 5'4", 300-pound guy with a gruff voice, kind of like this, because he's always pissed. Not sounding like friggin' Peter Petrelli from Heroes. Pass. Artwork was great, but no, pass. I don't want to see Logan turned into a yaoi pretty boy from Japan. Next one, Blade. Didn't see it, would love to, just haven't had the time. We're going to go ahead and give that a skip until further notice. The Iron Man one, that was another one that came out. Once again, they had Adrian Pastar from Heroes doing the American dub. Artwork looked good. I really didn't see much of it. I was kind of cringing at the fact that they were using too many Heroes actors for the cartoons. Skip. X-Men. This one oh man, I don't even know where to begin. Japanese voices, I skipped out on it. American voices, they had a few returning characters from Wolverine and the X-Men, like Steve Blum doing Logan. The artwork is amazing. Now, bear in mind, disclaimer here is I hate anime. I can't stand it. Big old sweat drops on their eyes and the let's be friends peace sign and all that good junk from the Saturday morning cartoons. No. I got shoved down my throat when I was a teenager. No, I'm not having that. Now, I do understand that there's good anime out there, and I don't doubt that, and I won't debunk it. I know Akira is a great series, or a great movie, but not my cup of tea. The X-Men anime, they fell back in the good old reliable Jean Grey goes nuclear with the Phoenix, and then it's the search for Jean, apparently. They have White Emma Frost, and of course, they have to have their token Japanese character, Hisako Ichi, Armor from Astonishing X-Men in there, and she plays a major part. What did you expect? This is Japanese anime. Of course they're going to do that. Fine with me. I'm okay with that. I saw one episode and just could not sit still. I just couldn't do it. It was like, okay, well, this is good, but it's nothing really to keep me focused. We'll give that about a 5 out of 10 pending me watching it later. They also had a cartoon series, I believe it started in 2010, ended in 2011, Wolverine and the X-Men. Yay, Marvel, let's just shove Wolverine down our throats a little bit more. Pass. I hated what they did to Cyclops. Wolverine is not a team player. He never has been. And Marvel's shoving him down our throats. 0 out of 10. Pass. On the DC side, we had some good stuff coming out of them. The beginning of 2011 had us going into some of the heavy stuff with Superman. They had Reign of the Doomsdays going on, which I was still kind of confused as to how they were doing the whole, let's just clone Doomsday. It's like, I thought he was just one character. But, whatever. It was decent. Supergirl still seemed to be a confusing mess, which with origin stories every five issues, that each one more conflicting than the last. That one was a pass, definitely. Even though I love Supergirl, I love the character, but DC, would you please make up your mind and pick an origin for her? For the love of Zod. I'm getting confused, too confused. Too confused means you lose money. Don't do that to me. On the Batman side, things pretty much went just about the way they should. I didn't really read too much Batman, so I can't really touch much on that. And then we had the New 52, which I'm actually surprised to see how well the New 52 has been received. I'm still not happy with some of it, but generally the reviews have been really good, with the exception of a couple of the titles, and it seems to be taking off rather well. I gotta say, kudos to you on that one, DC. You did pretty well. On the Ultimate side of things, as you all know, DC doesn't do Ultimate titles, but they tend to do stuff on their own pretty greatly. Marvel, on the other hand, has the Ultimate series. We all saw the death of Peter Parker in Ultimate Spider-Man by the hands of Norman Osborn, which I thought Norman Osborn was dead too, but all of a sudden, surprise, there he is. Whatever. Then you have the introduction of Miles Morales. I got to admit, after reading a few issues, which I didn't really read much because I was pressed for time with my new job, I kind of like it. I really do. I mean, I do wish that they would have just created a new world for Miles Morales instead of plopping him into Peter Parker's world, because that's kind of a little lazy on you guys, Marvel. Come on now. You're better than that. Put Miles Morales in his own new world, give him new enemies, kind of like the old J2 universe where you had May Parker, Spider-Girl, and the American Dream, and Time Lord, and all that. Do that. Don't drop him into Peter Parker's world. It's kind of a cheap out. It was pretty good. So far, it's been good. I think I'm going to be following that title. Amazing Spider-Man has been a breakout title over the course of 2011. I know a lot of people, myself included, were very, very sketchy when it came to the whole concept of Peter Parker's return to where he should have been this whole time. Makes a deal with Mephisto, Mary Jane whispers a caveat real quick, and all of a sudden, poof, everything's back to normal. Cop out and a half. Good Lord. Marvel, you shouldn't even wrote yourself into that hole in the first place. I get that it was a logical progression of the character, and I completely see where you're coming from with it. I mean, I followed it. I love Spider-Man. But really, a deal with the devil? Is that really? Is that the best you got? Nah, come on, I could write better than that. Get out of here. However, what came after that, Brand New Day, was just a consistent hit after hit after hit after hit. We finally got to see Peter Parker the way he should have never left himself. Down on his luck, always never having the best of luck with women, his web shooters would fail at the wrong moments, strapped for cash. The Spider-Man that we all knew and loved and grew up with as kids. Of course, he's slowly been getting back up on his feet here and there. He lost MJ, but she remembers him and he remembers her. But they do remember the marriage. But that's kind of a tension I can't wait to see come out in the end. They've been priming that little explosive bit by bit by bit over the past year with the arc, and I'm looking really forward to see how it's going. Spider-Man, Peter Parker ended up dating a character named Carly Cooper. He had some different arcs come out of it, with the most recent one being Spider Island. Spider Island was actually surprisingly good for what it was. I didn't read all the crossovers. The only ones I really got to read was the actual Amazing Spider-Man arc with the whole storyline. And it was really good. I was very impressed with how it ran out. Wow, I just lost my train of thought. Yay! Go me for losing trains of thought. I'll come back to it. So, that's the comic side, and I know I'm missing some, so you listeners out there, you get to form your own opinion on the rest of it, because I'm not perfect. Also on the comic book side, we branched out from just the good old-fashioned paper trail. 2011 was a hit for comic book movies. It seemed like we couldn't lose. And I'm sorry, all of you, I will argue you all to the death about Green Lantern. That was what I'd forgotten. Brightest Day. Very good series. Less said on that, the better, because for time. Green Lantern was one of the greats. The movie itself, I really enjoyed it. It was a good old-fashioned romp. It had a little bit more right than wrong. Ryan Reynolds played the character very convincingly, as did Carol Ferris. Heck, Peter Sarsgaard playing Hal, or that not Hal. Wow, he's playing Hal? Playing Hector Hammond is a creepy little bastard. That really made me laugh every time he was on screen in the greatest of ways. Good job. Then you had the Marvel Studios issue movies. Thor and Captain America. Wow. I cannot say enough about those movies. I cannot say enough good about those movies. Marvel Studios has been knocking them out of the park every time, and this just continues the trend. We're out of the Marvel movies now, and the next big one is going to be the Avengers in 2012, and you know what? I will be there at midnight, lined up, and maybe even in a costume, hoping to watch the magic happen, because I, for one, am a fan of Maria Hill because of Kobe Smulders. Kobe, Robin Scherbatsky, please come to me. But less said on that, the better here. We are a children's show. So I can't wait to see that one. Star-studded cast, looking like it's going to come out really well. The other movie that came out, X-Men First Class. Movie had no right being as good as it was. Michael Fassbender knocked it out of the park with Magneto. James McAvoy did a stunning job as Charles Xavier. And each of the actors playing their respective mutants, they were done really well. I was confused as to why Angel Salvador and Darwin were in the movie, but whatever. There's obviously continuity issues, which I will argue and rant about until the cows come home. So we're going to skip that one. 10 out of 10. All of the movies that came out this summer were 10s in my book. But that's not all. We also had a decent banner year for video games based on comic books. X-Men Destiny was a huge swing and a miss, but Arkham City more than made up for that one. If you were listening last week or the week before, I did a major in-depth review with Henry here, and we talked about it. So we all know my feelings. Those feelings haven't changed. Go out, get Arkham City, get the DLC. Don't buy it used, buy it brand new. And if you can, save yourself a little bit of cash, get it from Best Buy, because Best Buy comes with the Robin DLC already bundled in. You're saving yourself about $7 worth of DLC right there, because you'll have Catwoman and Robin, and then you just have to buy Nightwing and you got all the DLC. Rumor mill goes that Kevin Conroy has already outright said that he has already recorded some additional voiceovers for content for Arkham City. So will we see some episodic DLC in the future? Looking quite like it, and I'm hoping for one that we get to see some storyline campaign with Robin and Nightwing. more on that as the news comes out. So overall, 2011 was fairly combustible. It was very, very, very well done in comics from both sides of the media giants. I'm pretty sure that the independent titles did very well as well. So I don't really read the independent titles that much, so I can't really talk too much about that. But I'm pretty sure my listeners out there, you guys read the indies. You know what's up. Shoot an email to the studio. Let me know. I mean, put it up on the Facebook page. Tell me what happened in the indies. I really want to know. I'll be watching the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page and the Twitter page. Let me know. Tell me, what are your comments about the independent? What do you think about the 2011 recap? Is there anything I missed? Anything I didn't do? Anything you like, dislike? Sound off on Facebook. Sound off on Twitter. Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. Until next time, this is David Lee for Comics Commentary. You all have a great Christmas. Don't have too much fun. And remember, keep your head in them funny pages. Keep buying them, and they'll only get better. Later.
The Geek Speak Radio Show. We'll be right back.
What do you really know about the life of Walt Disney? Okay, you may know some things about Mickey and Disneyland, but if you think you know more than that, feel free to say something now. We thought so. If you want to get to know the Walt and Disney, the risk-taking and always inventive man behind the magic, visit the Walt Disney Family Museum, filled with interactive stories, movies, music, and original animation in the Presidio, San Francisco.
So how much do you know about Walt Disney? Everyone knows Mickey, but do you know his birthday? The name of Walt Disney's first animation studio? Here's a hint. It wasn't the Walt Disney Studios. Your knowledge of everything Disney will get you a family fun pack, which includes a visit to the Walt Disney Family Museum at the Presidio in San Francisco and a Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Just answer 4 Disney trivia questions and you may be one of the random weekly winners chosen throughout the month of November. The questions will be asked on the show and posted on the Geek Speak Radio Show Facebook page. Just post your correct answers and you may be the lucky winner of 4 tickets to the Walt Disney Family Museum and a special Walt Disney Family Museum souvenir. Plus, you'll get to see the new Disney Artists Holiday Wishes exhibition, making its debut this month. Get all the details at geekspeakradioshow.com.
Back to the Geek Speak Radio Show. Now back to the Geek Speak Radio Show.
We're back at the Geek Speak Radio Show, our season finale. What are you doing over there?
I'm just thinking about the times and memories that we had on the show. I can't believe he's going to go on break. I'm going to be sad.
Well, how were you on last Friday?
Good.
Sure?
Yeah.
You didn't have, what do you call that?
A little crying moment when Fringe was finally off the air?
I was thinking withdrawals, actually.
No, I was good.
No Fringe. You had Iron Man. No Grimm. I don't even know what NBC was showing, but they didn't have, I think it was a Christmas special or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of over these little mid-season breaks because, I mean, I get spoiled so many times as far as being a geek that you just want to
Well, see, with Grimm, they've been pretty good with it. And in fact, it's been replaying on Sci-Fi the first 4 episodes. But Fringe, went away because of baseball's 20,000 game Super Bowl, whatever. What is it called again? The
World Series?
Yeah, the World Series thing. I was going to call it the World Cup. But the World Yeah, I'm not a baseball fan. I don't know what I care. But because of that, there was no Fringe. Then it comes back, a couple of episodes. 2
weeks.
Peter Bishop comes back, Gex is excited, and then it's gone again.
Yeah. Well, what could he say? That it's
God dang it. That's what you can say. Again, and Graham is also on break. Terra Nova is this coming Monday. Today, since today is Monday, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last break. One, yeah. And it's on break also.
Walking Dead is already now on break.
Yeah, this Sunday was the last one.
You know what? This whole break right now is perfect because now I can, focus and watch some new TV shows that I haven't had the chance to see.
You have nothing to talk about, so why else would we do a show?
Well, that too, and also watch a lot of other cool movies that I've been postponing.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about over this little break here, is that now that there's nothing to do on Friday nights, we can actually go out again. We have a social life, and we're catching up on a couple of movies that we didn't see, because usually We don't, we're not hypocrites. Romo did act like one because he watched Grimm live, even though he had his whole geek drama queen.
Yeah, but you got to be open to that.
But we're not lying when we say we do watch one of the shows live. We don't go out on Friday nights. I do call him and he's at home sitting right there and watching Fringe.
Fringe, you got to join the chat community. It's so much fun on the Fringe fan sites.
Well, see, again, call me old, but I don't want to do that. See, when I watch a show, I don't want to be tweeting and being bothered by text coming in. I just want to watch the show as it is. I don't really care what other people think until afterwards.
Oh, well, it's fun.
But now that we have a chance to, we actually went out to the movie theater. I saw a new movie. You saw one that's been out for a while.
Yeah.
Let's start with yours. You finally got to see Immortals.
302, you would say.
Yeah, that's what I call it.
Part 2. Great movie. If you're a fan like me and you like Tarsum scenes like other past movies, The Sale, The Fallen, or The Fall, you're going to love this. It's great in 3D. I know people sometimes may say that 3D is overrated, but hey, it was filmed with a 3D camera. It's actually done very well. The storyline's great. I remember when we were there at the panel at WonderCon for Immortals, and even then I couldn't wait. So to finally see it, it's one
I like
movie
the fact that we got to see right in front of us the new Superman, Henry Cavill.
Yeah, and it's just one movie to add to my collection. I loved it. It was that good.
How was Henry Cavill? Can you see him as the Man of Steel next year?
Yeah, he's a steel body. He's a body made of steel.
Is it 3D or 4D? How would you know that? Did you actually get to touch the body or what?
No, but hey, let's just say that he trained very hard for that role.
Okay. Well, yeah. I saw a new one. We talked about it on last week's show. Is Hugo in 3D? Yeah. And yeah, I did see it in 3D.
Wow.
Honestly, the 3D effects.
I was gonna ask you about that. What do you think?
They were good in the beginning, but kind of like Resident Evil of a few years ago, the last one that came out. Towards the middle, you forget,
right?
And
that's the same thing that happened with me.
Doesn't really do anything either.
Did you take off the glasses and then put them back on because your brain automatically adjusts?
My eyes didn't get tired like they did in Transformers. In Transformers, I think I said in the review that I did, there's specks of dust flying and all kind of like too much. And Hugo, it's perfect because at the beginning, the only way I can describe it, and I wish I had seen it so I could have said this to Brian Selznick when he was on with us. The beginning of the movie, because you get to see all of Paris. It's like literally like stepping into a Christmas postcard. You got the snow coming and the lights and the snow on the ground and everything. It's like stepping into a Christmas card. But once the movie got started, it just looked like a regular movie. I even forgot I was wearing the glasses. Yeah. After a while,
for a second that happens to me too, because then I love it. I mean, even though people may say it's a gimmick, depending on what type of movies it is, like let's just say Star Wars in 3D, Titanic in 3D. But if it's done right, these movies are it's like a whole new world. With the 3D, it just adds to the environment.
Should I sing? No, I don't want to sing a whole new world. But speaking of,
what?
Glad you mentioned that, Star Wars and Titanic in 3D. Before it started, I actually got the trailers for Phantom Menace in 3D, or as you say, the Phantom of the Menace in 3D, and Titanic in 3D.
What did you think?
Nothing. My thought, and I said it out loud too, and there were a couple of people in the theater who knew what I was talking about because they laughed when they heard me say it. As soon as the Titanic trailer was over, I said out loud, "Is it July 20th yet? That's release date for The Dark Knight Rises." You're making that face.
I was like trying to put
but I think it was on Collider, one of our partner site websites on Collider.com. I think it was Steve Frosty. Who got to see some of Titanic in 3D, and he gave it a glowing review. Said it's wonderful.
Probably best friends with the studio.
No, James Cameron figured out how to do 3D. It didn't look anything. It looked annoying to me, quite honestly. And the episode 1 trailer, that one was really annoying because there's no reason to have it in 3D other than to make a little bit more money or a lot more money because I know how much tickets cost now.
Yeah.
The only thing that looks sort of 3D that comes at you is, when there's droids flying around?
Yeah.
You see them fly in front of you, that's about it. But they're on the screen for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, because it wasn't filmed in 3D.
Yeah. And the pod race, I heard a lot of people say, well, I can't wait to see the pod race in 3D. It's not that
Well,
special.
The original looked like it should have been in 3D.
No, it doesn't do anything for it.
No?
Plus, again,
I mean, I'm not shocked.
Story. It doesn't do anything. This doesn't do anything to the story.
Who wants to see Jar Jar Binks in 3D?
You will understand this reference, and so will a lot of you who study sound and want to do, sound recording.
Yeah.
You and I got you out of that. You were brainwashed in whatever school you went to. I forgot what school you went to, but you were brainwashed into thinking that if you got the most expensive editing system, the most expensive microphone, that you make you sound great. It's the talent. It's what goes into it. Same thing here. If the story is crap, you make it in 3D is just putting the highlighter on that crap and saying, hey, look at this big
piece of crap.
Yeah, the quote Ian and Malcolm from Jurassic Park. That is one big steaming pile of bleep.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. The 3D does not do anything for it. Titanic, same thing.
Yeah, who wants to see
it's
an
the
old
same,
lady in 3D?
It's the same movie. Okay, that sounded weird, but okay. It's the same movie. You don't need to see an iceberg coming at you. You know it's there. You know what happened.
You know they all die.
They're only releasing it again, obviously to make more money, and also to take advantage of the fact that it's going to be 100 years next year since the Titanic went down.
They should have just released it with the new.
Just released it as it is.
Re-release it, yeah.
If you really want to stand behind you're a great person, you said it yourself at the Academy Awards. You're the king of the world, James Cameron. You don't really need the extra $1 million or $20 million it's going to make, do you?
No.
What you should have done is forget the 3D. Believe me. Look, I'm telling you. I don't care if you never come on the Geek Speak show next year. 3D is dead. It sucks. We're tired of it. Knock it off. Avatar wasn't that great. But what you should have done is re-release Titanic as it is, and all the proceeds go to any survivors,
if there's any,
of the Titanic,
or donate
their
to
families.
charity. Yeah,
people would have loved it even more, and they would have gladly gone if they knew that their ticket monies would have been going to that, or even do it for this, because like I said, 3D tickets are pretty expensive.
Yeah, they are.
But that's just me. Hold on,
$12 now.
Kick it away with my pedestal there. All right, I'm down now. What else are we talking about? So I liked Hugo. You liked Immortals. Obviously, you're gonna buy it. One thing I do got to say about Hugo, though, it is a great movie, and it's been sold. And now that I think about it, I went back and listened to the Brian Selznick interview.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to hear it, it's on our YouTube page. Our archives are on there. I re-listened to it again, and now it made sense. Something that Brian said during the interview, and I said I think it's going to be a great family movie. He kind of hinted that no, not really. He didn't straight out say it. But I got to agree with him. It's not really a family movie. Kids, I would say, ages 12 and up, perfect for you. 12 and under, they might get a little bored because it's not a lot of action. It's a lot of talking, and it is a movie about movies, about silent movies, but it's still a movie about movies.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say. I won't give away too much, but it's not. I wouldn't suggest taking any kids under 12.
Yeah,
my kids are under 12. They did go with us, and they were good.
They liked it,
probably because I bought them a lot of food. That's what kept them calm. But my son, he's a geek like me. He likes this stuff, and he got into the Man on the Moon and everything that George Méliès did, and they like Chloe.
Yeah,
Chloe's in it, and so that's what
I'm gonna have to take him to go see Immortals then, because he's gonna love heads being smashed and blood going.
No, because the next time you come here, he's gonna hit you with something. So again, that's the only caveat I would say about Hugo. But other than that, great movie. It did make the book come to life. I got the same feeling in the middle, because I've read the book many times now. Like I told Brian, I got the same feeling I got when I went to see Lord of the Rings, the first one. Especially the first time you see that wide shot of the Shire, I said they did it. Peter Jackson made this book come to life. The book that I read every year, he made it come to life. Same thing with Hugo. Martin Scorsese did a fantastic job, and Natasha Ozu and the rest of the crew.
Think it's the movie of the year?
No. It's not get crazy. It's good, but still not better than Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Yep, that one would be my pick.
All right. Everyone has their own.
Speaking of
what?
We did our little award show not too long ago. We picked our movies.
Yeah.
Let's do the opposite. Let's get in the DeLorean and go forward. 2012 is lining up to be a big, big year for geek movies that we'll talk about here.
All right.
I'm going to read a list. I made a list of what I'm looking forward to. You want to add any, you can, but let me read the list of our movies, the geek movies that we're looking forward to next year. You ready?
Yeah.
Looking forward to The Woman in Black. Daniel Radcliffe's first post Harry Potter movie. Ghost Rider: Spirit of Vengeance, just to see what they're going to do with it. Hansel and Gretel, The Witch Hunters. Reminds me a lot of remember the book I've picked a couple of times, The Last Apprentice, and Grimm, because
it is.
It's the same premise.
Yeah, it's about Snow White and the seven.
No, it's about Hansel and Gretel. 15 years after the story we all know, when they got stuck in the gingerbread house.
Yeah.
15 years after that, they've become witch hunters now.
I was thinking Mirror.
Yeah, there's like 20 Snow Whites coming next year also. Wrath of the Titans, just because I want to see how they're going to do a sequel to that, to Clash of the Titans. This, not very geeky, but I love it. I got to see it. The Three Stooges. The Avengers.
Of course.
I kind of want to see it. Dark Shadows. Now, this one I put a question mark next to it.
Well, Johnny Depp, Chloe Moretz.
No, Dark Shadows. This one I put a question mark next to it. Battleship.
No, you could just play the game and be satisfied that way.
Yeah, and this one, question mark, but not in the I don't want to see it kind of. It's kind of like I don't know. It's been so long. Men in Black 3.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the reaction's going to be. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has
since we've seen a Men in Black.
It's been over 10 years since the first one.
This one I really, and I know everybody listening is going to say, Prometheus. Ridley Scott's, written by Damon Lindelof. This is the Alien prequel, but not really a prequel. Yeah. That's the real reason why I can't wait to see what the hell it is finally. This one, I read the book. I don't know why I didn't pick it for the book club, but there's always next year.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
That's to be a good one.
This one, I think I'm the only one that's looking forward to this from what I read from all the responses from
all the emails.
G.I. Joe Retaliation. I liked the first one.
I didn't like the first one. I'm sorry.
I did.
Everyone has their own opinion.
This one.
What?
I'm kind of worried about this one, actually, more than I was about the Stephen Sommers one. Stephen Sommers knows how to do action, and he did. I was an 8-year-old, just like my son. We went to see the first G.I. Joe. That's why I liked it. Now, this one has a question mark. I've said it many times on the air, and I'm still on the fence. The Amazing Spider-Man.
You know what? I have no words for that one because I'm on the fence as well. And it's either or. Someone's going to have to drag me to go see it, or I'm just going to have to wait and...
I'll tell you what, and turn around and look at producer Damien when I say this. If Andrew Garfield comes on and convinces me to go, maybe I'll go.
Yeah, maybe.
Producer Damien, that's a hint. He's looking at us like, what? I'll just say July 20th.
Dark Knight Rises.
And funny, but there's no other movies being released that weekend. That's all I had on there is The Dark Knight Rises. I think they're smart.
Yeah.
This one I'm really looking forward to, and again, like G.I. Joe, I'm probably the only one, although there is kind of a following, but that's Resident Evil Retribution.
Oh, that was a good one. The last one last year was really good.
Yeah, they've all been, except the one that Paul W.S. Anderson didn't direct. That one was okay, but it wasn't all over the place.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't towards the...
and Mila Jovovich, his wife, and Alice in the movies. They play these games like I play them. Like I stay up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning and think something's walking behind me. They stay up and play these games. They know how it feels. They know the story.
Yeah, it's the one that they didn't direct or didn't have no. It didn't stick to the game at all.
The same feel.
Yeah,
but last year's was, and so I'm looking forward to that one. Paranormal Activity 4.
Really? I haven't even seen the third one yet.
I'll say this about Paranormal Activity 3. I kind of mentioned it in the review that I did. A lot of people loved it just because it was Halloween, getting ready for Halloween, and it was a perfect time to go and get scared. So everybody went to see it, and I told you, I had to go see it twice because I think it was producer Damon and we went to see it on opening day, and it was packed. It was a packed house. But I could barely hear the dialogue because people were just screaming, and even at things you weren't supposed to scream at. A little kid came on screen. I was like, relax. It's just a kid coming on screen.
Yeah.
After it died down, all the excitement, I started seeing some real reviews. And a lot of people were not happy with it. And I was one of those. I got to say that.
Was there holes in the story?
No, where it left Paranormal Activity 2, where it left the story.
Yeah.
It really left you wondering in this one. And this one, remember, I think it was last year when Last Exorcism came out?
Yeah.
Remember, your first reaction was capital W, capital T, F at the end? That it has that kind of ending.
At the end, yeah.
This one has that kind of ending also.
Oh.
So now there's no way they can go to the end of Paranormal Activity 2, because now they got to explain what the hell was this new ending all about. They got to explain that, so now I got to go even further back now. So I want to see what they're going to do with it, kind of.
All right. What else?
This one, not really. I mean, we know Daniel Craig's coming back, but Skyfall, that's the new 007.
Yeah, all right.
This one, I've read the book many times, and again, I don't know why I didn't pick this one. Again, it's always next year. World War Z. This one I want to see, although I know that it's been changed a lot from the book.
Yeah, it has. But it's going to be fun to see some zombies, you know.
And then this one, you can guess this one. Music by Howard Shore. We got to see it in concert.
Oh, you're talking about The Hobbit?
An Unexpected Journey. Part 1 in December. So this time next year, we'll be talking about getting ready to go see The Hobbit.
Yeah.
So those are the movies that I'm looking forward to. Those are our movies, the geek movies.
What about movies in December? You know, with the holidays coming up.
There's only 3, really, that I'm looking forward to. And that is Darkest Hour.
Yeah. Ghost
Protocol. And Tintin.
What about Sherlock Holmes?
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Keep forgetting about that one.
Yeah.
There's also War Horse. We're not supposed to talk about it. I'll just say that we were invited to a special screening, and the director of War Horse will have a one-on-one conversation with...
What? Steven Spielberg?
Shh. I said we're not supposed to talk about it. But I'm not going to post anything on it because we signed papers, confidentiality, so we won't talk about that.
Let's not.
But it's not a genre movie, really. It's not. You're not going to have aliens or anything coming out, except Loki's in it. Tom Hiddleston, indeed. And there's already Oscar talk about it. So if you want to see Tom Hiddleston not as Loki, go see War Horse coming in December. And ironically, it's going to be a movie that's going to go up against another Steven Spielberg movie, which is Tintin. They came out at the same time. What else?
That's going to be a fun movie, though.
Yeah.
A lot of kids' movies.
So that's what I'm looking for.
A lot of kids' books turn into movies.
Tintin, I don't know if well, you can, it's a comic book. I don't know if you can call it a kid's comic book. My son, who's 8 years old, he loves the Tintins at the library. He one time, I'm not kidding, he took out like 8 books and he read them all. So he's really looking forward to Tintin. He's told me the whole story. I didn't get a chance to read them when he brought them, but he knows the whole story, so he's looking forward to Tintin. I'm really looking forward to Ghost Protocol just because JJ's got a hand in it, and it's Brad Bird's first live action movie. Brad Bird is director of The Incredibles and one of my favorites, The Iron Giant. This is the first time he directs humans on screen. And what a way to start with live people. You get the biggest actor of all, Tom Cruise. So I want to see what they do with that one.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for it. It was
and
all right.
Also,
what
we are going to go see it early
because you get
it in IMAX. You get the first 8 minutes of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
you're not gonna see Christian Bale, but it's gonna the world got its first look at Heath Ledger a few years ago. You're gonna get your first look at Bane. You're gonna see the introduction of Bane in the first 8 minutes. Spoiler alert there, by the way.
Yeah, I mean everyone knows there's already pictures of him already up online.
Now,
let's just say the costume.
Dictionary.com. When you go to Hypocrite, you're gonna see my picture this week because I said earlier that I'm not gonna mention spoilers or anything. I think I just did. So there you go. So that's it. We're done for this year. Before we go away, again, we're not done forever. Last year, we said that we'll be right back, and it took a while for us to get back. Not this time. We're going to be gone the whole month of December, which is, 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half weeks. You won't miss it because you'll be going through Christmas, New Year's, all that stuff. You won't really have time to listen to the show anyway.
No.
But we'll come back. We're targeting January 9th. I will be a year older because it's the Monday after my birthday.
Oh.
A year older. And I do have... let me tease one thing for sure that we're having. I teased it last week, and obviously you guys, we're done now, so he didn't come on. Jamie Benning, who did the Star Wars Begins Fanny-mentaries, as he calls them now. He calls them actually Filmy-mentaries. I think it's a good name for it. He's doing a new one. It's called Raiding the Lost Ark.
That's cool.
Obviously, Indy.
Yeah.
He's working on it now. We were going to talk... If we talked today, it would have been just a tease. He only has like 3 or 5 minute teaser up there. But we were talking... he's actually in Brazil as we speak, and he's going to be completely finished with it by January. Yeah, so by the time we talk to him, you guys will actually be able to see the whole thing. So he'll be one of the first guests, and some other surprises, of course. Now, when we come back, like I said, we're going to have a brand new name, not drastic, and that you can still find us by putting in Geek Speak on the search engines. It'll come up. I'll give you a hint what it is. We're not on the radio station, so the new name will be obvious. There you go. So that's it, really. I think new Facebook, new everything. And again, just keep going to our Facebook page, our main Geek Speak Radio Show webpage. Although those are going to disappear, but they will point you to our new ones.
Yeah,
so
they will.
Don't you fear. Geek Speak Radio Show will be here, but it just won't be Geek Speak Radio Show.
No,
at least
it
not
won't.
called that anymore. So, okay, we're done.
Yeah, we are.
Anything else?
No. Let's just go into warp speed right now.
Warp 8.
Yeah, let's do that.
Before we do go, one thing.
What?
What geek present do you hope you get from Santa?
The one I always wanted was a actual lightsaber. You know, Saber Force does one, but a really high-end lightsaber.
Okay. I didn't think you were going to say iPad because we have one here and you always have it, so it might as well be yours.
Uh-huh.
So you can consider Romo's iPad, the show one.
What about you?
Not a lightsaber. I think I want a new logo.
Oh, that's easy.
Or a new
That's kind of
microphone,
geeky.
because we have one that's broken there. So there you go. New co-host?
No, new female co-host.
Hey, there's a hint.
Yeah.
See you next year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week. The Geek Speak Radio Show will be back next week with a brand new episode. In the meantime, follow them on Twitter at Geek Speak Radio 1. That's Geek Speak Radio, the number 1. Become a fan on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes. If you like this episode, wait till next week and tell all your friends too. This is the Geek Speak Radio Show.